What is going on, y'all? How are y'all doing today? I'm Mr. G,
I'm Agent X.
I'm the bishop.
and welcome to the Nexus Podcast, where we bring together all the media that you love, where we talk about Buffy, Xena, Game of Thrones, and more, with Charmed always being the heart and center of what we do. What's going on, everybody? I hope y'all are doing well today. So we have a special guest. Blake, would you like to say hello?
Hey, y'all.
So, Blake, we are really excited to have you here today. We see that you've always supported us. You've always supported the podcast. You always have a lot of comments to make, a lot of feedback to give. So, welcome.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
We are so excited to have you.
So, Blake, is there anywhere that we can find you on social media?
No, I'm good.
Oh, okay.
Ooh.
All right.
And I oop.
And I oop, and still I oop, and forever I will oop. All right. We just
And
gonna...
yet, I oop.
So we're just going to go ahead and get into the episode, y'all. So this episode is titled The Fourth Sister. This episode features everyone's favorite Charmed One impersonator, Aviva, as she tries to infiltrate the Charmed Circle and become a Charmed One herself.
Yes.
So let's get into it. What were some of y'all's favorite parts of the episode? Because there's so much to actually get into, but is there a part of the episode that stuck out to you?
Prue closing the door, pretending that it was Aviva. The way she almost broke her neck. My girl almost had an aneurysm trying to close that door.
She's squinting. Like, she's squinting so hard, her shoulders came up.
So, like, when I first watched that episode, like as a child, I was like, what is Prue trying to do? Like closing the door, like that's not going to explain her like disappearing in a blink of an eye.
Mm-hmm.
The door closing.
Well, thank God
She
it was
tried,
Andy
though.
and Leo.
She tried.
Because,
yeah,
you know.
I mean, and it speaks to her instincts to at least try to come up with a plausible reason, because it's like she was just there and now she's gone. And I'm supposed to believe that she just disappeared and I didn't see her walk out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Leo is dumb enough to believe it. Andy should have been a little bit more curious because he's, a cop. I feel like if Daryl had been there, Daryl definitely would have questioned it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we haven't gotten there yet, but technically, Leo, doesn't he already know what's going on, though?
I have an entire section about that. And James, I'm so sorry for cutting you off. You go ahead, and then I'm going to say what I got to say.
Oh, I just said you would think, but then it's Leo, so who can say?
I got so angry whenever Leo was standing there with his himbo look. Huh? What? Huh? Because all I can think when Phoebe is standing in the kitchen and she has her burn, all I could think was it would be nice if her white lighter could heal her in this moment.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Anyway.
Wouldn't that have been nice?
That would have been beautiful. It would have been absolutely beautiful. And then anyway, okay, I'm not going to say the other thing because Blake brought that up and we're going to talk about that later with the question that he asked Phoebe.
I do want to kind of piggyback on what you were saying, though, about him healing her, because we know, like, as the series goes on, Leo has multiple charges, and he's obviously... I mean, it's season 1. The show itself is filling itself out and how it wants to introduce these characters, and I understand that. But just in the overall story, how many of his charges do you think died today?
All of them?
Probably all of them. But in talking about that, they could have very, very easily made him Aviva's white lighter instead of theirs.
Yes.
And they could have just tied it into the story, and maybe because he saw that the Charmed Ones were vulnerable and didn't have a white lighter of their own, he talked to the elders, and then that's how he becomes their white lighter, instead of he's been a white lighter the whole time watching them since they were babies. And Oh, Lord, it was right there. And then we could get actual confirmation that Aviva is a witch and not a human. Something.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good
Yeah,
one.
cause
I just
yeah,
can't.
because they definitely. I guess she's just human.
Yeah.
But,
It was very unclear whether she was already a witch or if, because wouldn't having a power drive her insane?
I mean, you're totally right. It should, especially based on later seasons. But like, technically, she's labeled as like a witch practitioner on the wiki.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Again, it being season one, how there are witches with magic powers, but then there are also witch practitioners, which I think are just humans that have like leaned into practicing Wicca.
Mm-hmm.
At least that's
yeah.
my understanding.
Maybe they have
But
like a natural affinity to it because maybe they had like an ancestor or something that was a witch. And so they're mortal, but they have more sensitivity to the magic realm. Like maybe that's how she was able to actually summon Catley.
mm-hmm.
And I will argue that she was on her way there to being insane. So
Yeah,
maybe if it
yeah.
was
Oh,
a
she
few more
was.
days.
If they didn't
She
save her, I think it was going to drive her mad at that point.
As soon as she saw Elise fall down them stairs, she said, She said, this ain't for me. She said, this is
I had
not
a,
for me.
I
Mm-mm.
had a
Oh,
flashback to
And
Grams falling down the stairs when I saw Elise fall.
oh, I
Okay.
put that in my notes.
Mm.
I wonder, did Callie kill Grams?
I'm serious. I was
That
gonna
was
make a joke
payback.
about that. I was gonna make a joke about that later. Like, I honestly think staircases. I know, like, we're gonna have a ranking system later, but like, I feel like staircases are like the number one demon out of this episode.
Well, here's the thing.
We never looked at the stairs as a villain. That's a good
Well,
point.
we never did, and now this is at least twice that we know of off the top of our heads that a character has been unalived falling down the stairs. Now, here's the thing, and this is no shade, but it is kind of shade, but it's not meant to be shade. At least Grams had heart issues, and she fell because like her legs gave out, as did her heart.
That is true.
But Elise was nowhere near the stairs, and she
She made the effort.
she
to get
made
to
the
the
effort
stairs.
to fall down the stairs. Like she was in a room and she ran out into the hallway, almost to the other side of the hallway, hit the door frame, and then threw herself down the stairs. Like Elise did that to herself. And I refuse to call her a Jackie in this episode because that's her old
It's
identity
Elise.
before she went into witness protection. And she's Elise. She's
Yep.
Aunt Elise. This
Yeah,
is
You
Aunt
think
Elise.
you think she was trying to unalive herself to get away from her
I
niece?
do.
I think she was.
I do.
Yeah.
I would have done the same thing, to be honest. When she
Oh,
fell, when you look at it, I honestly, when you look at it, you think she's gone at first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just laying there like a body. And I was like, she ran into the wall and held it and then fell down the stairs. Like she was holding herself against the wall and then was like, okay, it's time to free Willie. And she just falls down the stairs.
Did it feel like
Hey,
a
you-
forensic
you left
files
out the windmill.
reenactment to you?
You said what?
Did it
I
kind
said
of
you left
feel
out the
like
windmill, like when
Oh,
her
yeah,
dress
the
caught on
windmill.
fire. She swung that thing around like 6 times before she ran out that damn door.
She said, "I'm
Baby,
gonna burn down the house as I'm going."
that stunt double was putting in work because I'm talking about legs gapped, arms flailing. Baby, that man was in that dress cutting up. I said, okay.
he said
Shut up.
he wanted to be in Hollywood for real. No more stunt, no more stunt double. He got the chops.
He said, listen, they gonna call me back. That was Paige's stunt double in the day the magic died.
That was clearly a man. It really pissed me off, actually. It was so obviously men.
See, I never actually paid attention, which is weird because I noticed little things. I never paid attention to Paige's stunt double in the episode. And then somebody I was friends with at the time pointed it out to me. And I was like, oh my God, I cannot believe that I missed that. Because this man's shoulders are like wider than mine.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay. All right. We're gonna get back on track. So Blake, since you're the guest, what was your favorite part of the episode?
So I don't want to take it away from y'all because it was definitely kind of a good comedic line later in the show. So I will say the first thing that caught my attention was at the beginning of the episode. Aviva damn near bought out Pier 1 candle holders because those little wrought iron spiral things that she was using, god damn, had 20 of them, just all in a circle with black candles while she was summoning Callie. And then, like, later in the episode, this girl does not care about her craft because I swear, she just kicked them all into that damn closet.
And she had those stolen them because she didn't. Well, I mean, hey, who knows?
One of them was like a foot fucking long. Forgive my language.
She had a nice car, so maybe somebody was rich.
True.
I don't know.
True.
I hope she gave some to the Halliwells because it was caught lacking first episode.
She was like, maybe Graham was running low on witch supplies. I was like, why did we hold that out? Why did we say supplies?
And also, candles are like a common household thing. So, like, why didn't y'all have any? Like, the lights just went out, and you would think you have like maybe a candle or two.
Something. I feel like after talking about all of this and about like the nice things she had and then how she hated Aunt Jackie's house because it was a dump and her car, I really feel like Aviva's mom was like some high level executive or even maybe like a stateswoman or something. And
it was giving
no
Emma
one was
Frost.
supposed to know that she was in rehab.
It was giving Emma Frost, seriously. Like, oh, Scott, that was the 80s. We were all doing cocaine back then. Levels of Emma Frost.
I really liked the way, though, Aviva stood up for her mom. And it's like, she's in rehab. She's not, like, you make it seem like she's this horrible person.
She
has a sickness. It was very forward thinking for the time.
That is a very good point because Aunt Jackie was coming for, or Annalise was really coming for this girl's mama.
And that's her sister, right?
I'm assuming that's her sister, but they never really said how she was related to her. So we don't know if it was, I think she did say she was her sister because she was like, it's not like she has that much family and you're her, I think she did say you're her sister.
I was like, where's your compassion for your sister?
Child, it went down the stairs.
That's Harry Potter's auntie right there.
Not Petunia. Now she's trying to get into Hogwarts. Now she's trying to get into Hogwarts.
And turn hateful towards her sister and her child.
And everybody, exactly. So, Eric, what about you?
Let's see, I'm looking at my notes. There were so many things in there. The fighting between Piper and Phoebe over this man, and the layers to which, she called her sister a lesbian. The other one said she was crazy on crazy pills. I said, now wait a minute. Why would you even want to fight with your sister over a man?
There was
the second time.
Because you kissed Billy Wilson at homecoming. She said she didn't do it, but I believe it because they basically told you are a man stealer.
And then Prue was like, classic Phoebe. I was like, oh my God, okay. And Piper, usually Piper will kind of be like, I'm not getting in the middle of it. And Piper was immediately like, yeah, of course you are.
She already had the name loaded up.
That first season, every couple of episodes, Prue reminds you that, she really don't see it for Phoebe just yet.
Yeah, that's true. Because this is only episode 7. Like, they are still in that I'm not really fooling with you phase. And we getting there, but let's not, go too crazy. Which I wish they would have kind of used to be like the power of 3 is not to its fullest potential yet because the sisters still can squabble. But I feel like even though they don't explicitly state it, I feel like that's kind of the undertone is like we can get in between them right now because they're still finding their way to it. Because Callie had a lot of information on them. Like
she did.
Callie knew these people inside and out. I think y'all are right. I think James is right. Maybe Callie is, or whoever said it. Maybe Callie is the one who took James out.
Okay,
it supports my theory.
So here's my question about Callie, and I know this is kind of out of order, but okay, so Callie is a demon sorceress who is trapped in a dimension that she can only access through mirrors or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who, how is she getting this information? Like, does the source have a magic mirror that he's passing information to her from the underworld, or like, because Callie read them hard throughout the entire episode. She said, Prue is the strongest, which I have feelings about, but I've read that more as like, she's the oldest sister. She's she's more of the leader as opposed to like power wise. But then like 2 seconds later, she's like, well, Phoebe, on the other hand, and I'm like, God damn, are you related to Cole Turner? Like,
I mean, she was probably spying on them through mirrors.
Oh, that's true. That's
very
probably
true.
Because
And I
what I
would think
couldn't
that some
figure
demons are
out,
probably talking to her, probably in mirrors too.
really, what I couldn't figure out to save my life was how she even knew that they were the charmed ones. Because, but I feel like evil had to have known, because even the shapeshifters, who were probably the most useless demons that we've ever seen on this television program, even the shapeshifters knew that they were the charmed ones. So, but then they were working with Victor, so I was kind of confused on whether like they went to Victor came to them. It was probably Victor going to them because he, whatever. But
Maybe
He wanted a
maybe
good
Callie
deal.
was talking to Victor.
like, hey, she might have been.
That probably was her boyfriend.
I feel like Javna would have been her ex-boyfriend for some reason. I don't have a good explanation as to why, but I feel like Javna would have been her ex. Like, she's the one who probably cursed him to be old.
I believe it.
Oh,
She
I could
probably
see.
babysat the Cosby demon. I think she babysat him.
Oh, baby, trust me. Oh, you said
but
baby.
I could, but I could definitely see Javna being like Zane and loving mirrors and falling for her, but still being more into himself, and she cursed him.
Child, listen, I just
She found out that he was looking at himself more than her in the mirror.
that's why he was actually coming to the mirror. It didn't have nothing to do with her. Well, my favorite part of this episode was just Callie as a whole, because not only did Mama have all this information on them, but she just like at a not even by the middle of the episode, still kind of towards the beginning, she was already over Aviva. Like, she was already over. She was already like, don't let me down. If you disappoint, she was low key almost on the verge of saying, if you disappoint me, I'll kill you. I mean, it was just her patience started to wear very thin. She was like, take the cat and take something. Like,
and this made me wonder about Aviva. Like, all the synapses weren't firing because like she was not picking up on anything that Callie was throwing. Like, all the signs that she was evil.
I really feel like Callie must kind of remind her of her mama. Maybe her mama's very passive aggressive, because she definitely was not picking up on, like, at one point. I don't know if y'all have ever seen First Wives Club, but there's this part where I'm gonna just call her Minerva. I'm gonna just say Minerva McGonagall because I can't remember her name. Dame Maggie Smith.
Oh, Maggie Smith.
And she's talking to whoever that is. She's like, the fork, and she's telling her to put the fork down, and that's what that reminded me of. She's like, take the cat to the manor, and I was like, Callie is over this, and she's like, if we can just get rid of Prue. She is sick of Aviva, and you can tell that she is sick of having to work through somebody else. And it was like the fact that she apparently has telekinesis, because when she was telling her to take the cat, she opened the door, and I was like, okay, so if Callie can do all of this, Mama should be able to get out that mirror.
You would think.
You would definitely think okay. Let me say this one last part, and then we can move on. I promise you that when Aviva brought up her mama and Callie said, how is she?
In that moment, I knew whoever her mom was, I felt like Callie put her there.
Yeah.
Callie, He
She
definitely
gave her the
did.
drugs to relapse. She probably gave it to her.
She made that pipe burn a little bit too bright. That's all I'm saying.
Oh,
She was in the mirror like, do it, do the
she's
drugs.
like, do it, Aviva's mother. Do it.
And I will go away.
Because baby, she said, I'm gonna speak in a very low voice. I'm gonna try to make everything as angelic as I possibly can because I'm not trying to show my true nature. And then when they went to her eyes and she had those passions, Tabitha eyes in those contacts,
You
I
mean
said,
the Wendigo
okay.
eyes?
I said now y'all are playing in my face. Now y'all playing in my face because it looked like they just split an olive in half and then put it in her eyes.
What
Good
gets
night.
me about that is if, like, anytime Aviva left a room, if Girl had just turned around
Right. Yes.
to be like, bye, Callie, she would have seen all of that.
Yeah.
It was
I mean,
the eyes from Thriller.
I mean,
Mhm.
one time, Aviva was just looking down, and Callie had like this most evil look on her face, and all Aviva had to do was just look up. She would have seen it.
When she
Aviva
flashed in the
said,
mirror and Prue was in the room and she flashed in the mirror real quick.
I wrote down that Prue noticed something, that Prue had a feeling about something, but Phoebe didn't. Like
Prudence
Phoebe,
intuition.
who has visions, but I feel like at that point her visions weren't like necessarily honed enough to where she could feel that things were happening around her. But also, I do feel like this could have been an instance, kind of like Cole, where she didn't want to see something bad in Aviva, and she was like just completely blind to it because the fact that she didn't get a. I thought that she got that premonition about Prue in the middle of the episode for some reason, and she didn't. Like I kept watching. I was like, did they edit the premonition out? Like what is happening? And then when she got it, I was like, oh, it's just towards the end. I was like,
We got 12 minutes left, and now we're gonna save Prue.
Yeah.
And she didn't want to. That's what's so funny about it is like she's like, you were right, she's evil. And I was like, ma'am, you saw her throw a fireball at your sister's head, and you're still sitting here like, now I gotta tell the woman she's right.
She threw one
She
at
did
you.
the same thing. Well, she did the same thing when she got that premonition of Victor still in the Book of Shadows.
She oh my god, she did. Phoebe said, y'all not finna keep calling me stupid because that's what y'all doing, calling me stupid at this.
I'm being stupid.
I just wish she would ask a follow-up question when she would get those premonitions. Like, I know that wasn't her power at the time, but I really feel like between her seeing Victor steal the book and then her seeing Aviva, try to kill her sister, of just maybe be like, can you get a second premonition? Maybe?
It was giving Raven Baxter at times. It was definitely giving I am seeing something of my own making. I was shocked she went upstairs. I really was. I was shocked that she went to try to stop it. Like
I was shocked that damn sweater saved her life.
Yes, it was so thin.
Yeah.
I said, did she make that herself? Because there is no way that sweater. That makes me think that maybe Aviva's power wasn't quite that strong because we know Callie when she said ain't Elise on fire, we know that we saw the flame just go up like a fire coming at her. But what you got Aviva up here doing? She's lighting up paper. Okay, fine. And then she's popping popcorn. Okay, fine. On a fireball that can only like set ablaze a sweater. And because Phoebe,
don't forget, she burned that movie. Don't forget the tape.
Oh, she did.
Oh,
she
yeah.
And Prue had to pay for
back
that.
then,
that
seriously, that was at least like $20.
Yeah.
That was
Somebody had to see me outside.
And then it's funny because the wording that Phoebe chose to use when she was like, I saw a vision of Aviva hurting you. And I was like, you saw a vision of a fireball headed towards your sister's head. She was trying to kill her. Like, why are you saying hurt? Like, what are we scared to say the word hurt or something? Like, what are we I mean, you said the word like
the writers didn't know.
The writers didn't know what that was.
The writers didn't know what was going on. They put their little asterisks down. They put premonition, cutscene, and then continue conversation. They didn't know what was going to be in that cutscene.
They didn't even know what was going on premonition. They just said whatever.
And I also think that Phoebe didn't want to fully admit how right Prue was.
And if I say that she tried to kill you, then you're gonna be like, okay, let's
You're never gonna let me out the house again.
I wrote a note. She tried to kill her the night before when Piper saved her, and we never even revisited that.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Okay. I am
she
glad
was going in there to kill Prue in her sleep like it was nothing.
Can we bring up
from the hallway
that within that Piper knows that by this point, when hands are involved, there's magic. And they know that this girl has a power. Piper's like, what are you doing? Well, her hand is like it is when she uses her power, Piper. What do you think she's doing? She's standing in the hallway with the door open with her hand up. What do you think? And then she goes and she opens the door to check on Prue. Well, what were you going to do if Prue was laying there dead?
You know what? I think Prue's electric blanket had come unplugged, and Aviva was just concerned.
That's probably.
I have
Piper would have believed it. She would have believed it. You know what the bathroom is. Go ahead.
Do Piper just be patrolling the halls at night?
Oh, because remember when Phoebe was getting married, wasn't she in the hallway that night too? No, that was Cole.
Was that Cole?
It was Cole, but was it Cole pretending to be her? I thought it was.
I really feel like Piper has anxiety that causes insomnia, which makes sense for her character. They just don't say it because first off, the lights in the hallway were on, which I'm on the fence about that because it's a big house, and so I will probably have the lights on as well. But then I'm like, can we afford to have the lights on 24/7 like that?
Not in that damn house.
No, because only one of them
damn house. That heating bill is too high.
No, two of them. Only two of them.
3 women with 1 bathroom. No, those bills are too high.
Oh well, I guess they were offset by it being off during the day.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. So it was like, make sure to turn the hallway light on before you go to sleep.
Yeah, because they don't never be in their bedrooms.
They really don't.
Oh,
upstairs. Yeah.
Do you know what I just thought about when you're talking about Piper being high strung? Because I mean, she's a very, I would say almost a type A personality, not quite as type A as Prue, but she's still kind of a control freak. I'm definitely jumping ahead, but we find out an important part of her story, at least in my opinion, in this episode. And last episode, y'all made some very good points. You said them in jest, but you made some very good points that Piper was cooking her little heart out for that wedding.
Yeah.
And in this episode, we find out that she has been, I'm choosing to say, promoted to restaurant manager. And I'm thinking maybe there was another conversation that was off camera that poor woman has not come to terms with as she roams her hallways at night.
Not they said, listen, we know you have managerial skills, so we're gonna give you a shot at this because your other skill set you say you have is not up to par.
Yeah.
Because okay.
I mean, that's what they did.
Well, the owners at Quake, they don't know about magic. They don't know that she's a witch. All they know is Piper, the chef, cooked for this wedding party, and they're all dead.
Everyone died. Listen, I think because when Piper was making those cinnamon rolls, and I was like, that looks really dry. I was like, it looks so dry. And then she's got like this.
I thought it was a biscuit.
No, it was a cinnament roll. And
they were so stale coming out of the microwave.
Well, like, she pulls them out the microwave for one. So, like, what's the story there? Like,
good thing Leo's already dead, so she can't kill him.
Oh God! And then she takes him this, and she's like, "Low fat milk, right?" And I was like, "Why are you taking this grown man this jug of milk and being like,
she gave him half a fucking gallon?"
Roll. She was trying to make the man's blood sugar go up so she could take him to the hospital.
Like, I guess it's still part of that got milk era.
Yeah, and then Phoebe being a little hussy, and she was rubbing the face. She was like, "Got milk," and I was like, "Phoebe."
Prue's like,
oh, she's trying to slip her thumb in his mouth too.
Oh my God, the way Prue snatched Phoebe, I think I got triggered because I was like, "Oh my God."
She was about to fight her. Actually, like, what are you doing?
Yeah,
you know she likes it.
Prue was the only observant one in this episode.
It's that prudence intuition, man.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's her real power.
And you know what, it might be, but that's later. We'll talk about that later. So I don't know if y'all know this or not, but I have been on a Leo bashing train lately. And
Why?
I love that.
What?
I love
yeah,
that.
I
I'm
have
shocked.
Leo bashing train, and this episode made it even worse because I could not figure out why Lily was constantly like, I've got some samples for the staining, and yeah, I'm just a man. I don't know what's going on. Are you a lesbian? And I was like, why are we letting him be homophobic? Because number one, Lily has been watching them. I would assume that he's also been watching Phoebe since she's been born. I could be mistaken, but in the event that he has, why is he acting like he didn't A, know her sexuality, B, why was it an issue, and then C, why did you even need to ask her? Like, what was the purpose of asking?
I do want to stress, though, and this is if for anybody who likes to do headcanon like I do, that they say that soulmates travel in the same circles. So technically speaking, even though Piper is his future wife, and him, Piper, and Dan apparently have had some weird love triangle before, but that's a different episode. But he has been following Phoebe and Prue as well in past lives.
Yeah.
So there is a little bit of that possibility of, well, what if this lifetime it was meant to be with Phoebe? Like, we know it's not. We definitely know it's not. But this early in the season, there was that possibility. Well, what if it's Phoebe? And it was giving, I could make you straight. Like, I've had those conversations. Like, I'm mostly because I'm a queer man. I do lean more towards the awkward conversations I have with my girlfriend's boyfriends of like, oh ho ho, don't hit on me. And I'm like, I'm not. You know, but he's sitting there like, he never said it at all in the episode, but the vibe was very much of like, I mean, if you're not sure, have you slept with a guy? You know, like,
you ever tried it? Do you want to?
Exactly.
Leo made me think about a lot of things in this episode, besides him being homophobic and useless. Why?
So, oh God, he was.
I think though it makes sense the more I kind of think about it, because I was about to say it out loud and it makes sense. Like, okay, so I kept thinking, why are they getting the walls fixed? Like, what is happening to this house? But then I had to realize, like, they haven't lived in it for months since Graham's died, and it is an older house that you probably do have to keep up and maintain in a certain fashion. So I was like, it makes sense that they're making these kind of repairs. Then it made me think, did Leo use magic to get them to hire him? Number one. And then number two, as a handyman, why is he looking for the cat in the chimney and then putting up flyers around town? What kind of handyman is he?
Well, you know, I told you he's homeless. So one, he'll take the cash wherever he get, and two, it's something for him to do.
It was kind of, when he was like, I've got some samples at home, it was kind of giving like, I don't know if y'all have ever seen The Equalizer with Queen Latifah, my boo. But there's this episode where like her aunt, there's this boy she teaches or something, there's some connection, and she like follows him home and she finds out that like he's homeless or something. It reminded me of that. Like, it was given very much Piper's gonna follow Lily home and be like, I'm just gonna take him some more cinnamon rolls, and then and then she's like, oh my God, he's sleeping under a branch, and she's still like, well, let me give him some cinnamon roll. Like, that was what I half expected to happen, because Jesus have mercy. Oh God, I hate Leo. I hate Leo.
I mean, like when he was at the restaurant, brought it up before.
Yeah. Yes. And then it's the fact that Lily is acting completely oblivious to the fact that these women are both interested in him. Like, it would be different if we saw him. Okay, if they knew he was going to be a white lighter from day one, what I would have had him do is act oblivious, but then like have a long, not like kind of a longing look, like, or a distressed look, like I can't keep doing this, whatever. He doesn't have
Yep.
to say anything, but if you let him have that look, we know like, something's afoot here, because that would make sense why he's not really reciprocating, because he knows he can't. But the fact that he's just like, well, Piper said you're a lesbian, and Phoebe said you're medication. You're crazy. Have some more milk. I'm like, how are we like, Lily, turn this on. Turn it on.
Yeah. Yeah, I had that in my notes. Like, he wasn't working with a full deck either, because like none of this sounded like off to you, what they were saying.
Right.
Like Piper said that Phoebe went to like a gay and lesbian club meeting. Like,
like none of it made any kind of sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I want to say is, and I stress this is not acceptable. I want to be very clear, especially looking back through a 2024 lens, this is not acceptable.
Mm-hmm.
What I want to say they were trying to do from a, was this 1999?
1998.
98.
From a 1998 point of view, I feel they were trying to convey, oh God, not me defending Leo. Fuck. They were trying to convey that Leo was trying to get to know his charges without giving away the whole white lighter thing. And I want to say part of it is like, oh, interesting information. One of my charges is a lesbian. Let me, factor that in. But again, we're talking about a man from he died in World War II.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So he died in mid-century 1900s.
Mm-hmm.
He's got those type of views, and then comes to the 1998, and I guess is trying to be affirming ? Why am I defending him? I'm gonna hush.
Well, I mean, because I think that you're making a very good point, and I think that the show doesn't do itself a favor because it goes back and it changes the rules all the time. So like that would be a perfect setup. I am still very upset at the fact that, he hasn't revealed himself at this point, and that's another reason I think he should have been a newer white lighter than, rather than one who had been around for 50 plus years. But sure. Neither here nor there.
Especially not one that was hooking up with Penny. What happened?
Child.
Star sign Leo? I'm sorry.
We'll get to that. Moonbeam. That makes.
Before we move on.
Oh, sorry.
I have a feeling that if Leo had ended up with Phoebe, maybe he wouldn't have left so many times.
Well,
because I feel like in their first season, and even earlier on, him and Phoebe, like they had some good scenes together. Like
they did
more natural.
Like, that's why they started dating in real life, because they
did they date in real life?
Yeah.
Maybe that's why.
Yep.
Yeah, they did.
Like, and him and his 4
Alyssa was living her best life.
Her down. Him and his 4 inches was in there tearing Alyssa up.
Okay.
Like, in between things. They be like, that's a wrap. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to wrap it up. And she'll be like, I'm up for some shrimp cocktail. And then we go like,
Good night. Good night.
And I just, but going back to what we were saying, like, Charmed would go back and it would double talk itself so much that it's hard to really defend one stance, because most of the time there's always a different explanation for things. And I think if they had just left it at like Leo trying to get to know them, then you can kind of be like, okay, that makes sense that he doesn't know what to do, and that's another reason I say I would have made him a new white lighter, because he doesn't know what to do. He doesn't really know how to connect with them. He doesn't know how to tell them who he is. That's why he's coming in episode 7. And that would make sense, as opposed to being like, no, he's been their white lighter since they were born. And he's also been a white lighter since World War II. And he's very proficient. Like, Leo was not acting like someone who was a professional white lighter. Leo was acting like a new social worker who's going to a house for the first time and being like, I'm going to change lives. And I'm not going to sit next to the door so that I can make an escape because I don't want them to feel like I think they're less than me. Like, that's what he was given. And I can't. And while we are on the subject of men in this episode, can we just say, poor Andy? Poor Andy.
Yeah, poor Andy. Like he was really
trying so hard.
Yeah.
He was so frustrated. And like I think this is the first time in the series where we can really see how being a witch could impact their lives. Because Prue was really trying. Like she really was trying. And from his perspective, something keeps coming up, but you can't explain what it is. But things really were coming up. I mean, it was like, you know how sometimes it's a situation that they really could handle alone, but they have to all be together for whatever reason. These were actually like, I have to stop doing what I'm doing right now, or Aviva's gonna set the house on fire situation.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, we're gonna get back to Andy, but I want to say this before I forget. Are we gonna acknowledge the fact that Phoebe actually had that power for a second? And then we just never, like, the show never went back to it? Like, did Callie just let her do that once, or did Callie actually give her the power? Because they didn't talk about Callie taking the power out of her.
What I think the assumption is supposed to be is with the finale, and I love this, by the way. I went back and I reread the page, like a screenshot of Callie's page in the Book of Shadows, and it was said something to the degree of how to vanquish her, say shatter the mirror. It just made me laugh. Like, that's her vanquishing spell. Someone needs to verbally say shatter the mirror. But like once you did shatter that mirror, I think we're supposed to assume that the magic was undone.
I thought you.
But I fully, because again, she's not vanquished. My interpretation, she's not vanquished. She's similar to Barnabas. She was just like Barnabas. Is that his name?
Barbas.
That's not his. Barbas. Wow. Sorry. Thank you. Barbas. Like, he's not vanquished. He's just been sealed away.
Child, I don't know what they had going on. They said, listen, we are going to just make this up as we go. Because, like, at the end, when the mirror was shattered, her face was in, like, all the different pieces. And I was like, okay, so are we going to have to bury the pieces all around the world? Like, what is happening here?
Are we going to have to burn them? Or are we going... I mean, why can't she not just slip into another reflective surface? Like, is she trapped within a mirror when she appears? Like, that rule is not established.
Well, and
because I'm assuming in her dimension she's sitting in a chair or whatever, and then it's just weird ass reflective surfaces all around her, is my interpretation of what she was stuck in. Well,
and then my thing with that too was, like, when she went back into the mirror, why didn't she just disappear? She could have
exactly.
And then now you've just shattered a perfectly good antique mirror. But instead, she's like, let me stick around to see what they're going to do. Let's see what's going to happen with Aviva.
Oh, I love that, the demonic voice.
I want y'all to know, and we're going to get back to Andy, I promise. But we talked about this earlier. My favorite part of this episode was Aviva in that attic, because Aviva had it. I mean, not Aviva, Callie. Callie had it. Callie was sick of it. She was tired. She had a body. She said, girl, I'm just trying to go so I can get this magic. And she said, when Phoebe said, you're not Aviva, and my girl said, you're not kidding. I said, come on, Callie. And when she was like, Phoebe, help me. And then the olive eyes come up and she's like, never mind.
Never mind, yes.
I almost peed on myself. I was laughing so hard. That is how
it was the best line delivery of the episode, honestly.
Oh, it definitely was. And speaking of that, and going back to, like, Aviva being very, very susceptible, apparently, when she asks Callie what she wants, Callie is straight up with her and is like, Halliwell magic is very powerful and ancient, and I want it. And Aviva's like, okay.
Yeah, like...
She's like, cool,
how did
makes
she
sense.
think that was gonna happen?
Yeah. Yeah, there's no like hesitation.
Oh, okay.
There was no like, I don't want to do this anymore. She's just like, okay, that makes sense.
So here's one of my bigger questions, and this ties into because especially with this show, I do pay attention a lot to like the lore and the world building because I love stuff like that. Because Charmed, what I truly love about them is that even if something small doesn't pay off later, they do reference it later. Because I think Callie gets a shout out in a few seasons, if I'm not mistaken. But they have a oh my lord, not my brain just shorting out on me.
Bless it.
I'm having a blonde moment.
Power of 3 blondes.
Exactly. Oh, okay. No, seriously. So I understand, like Power of 3 Blondes, we're transferring the identities of the Charmed ones onto the Stillman sisters, and the Stillman sisters, who are sisters, it's kind of a 1-for-1 swap, right? How the hell is Aviva supposed to take Prue's place? And this is Callie's plan. This is actually Callie's plan for Aviva to become her foothold by killing Prue, taking Prue's place in the Power of 3. And then I assume Callie is going to siphon off not only the individual charm powers, like the Warren powers, but also the Power of 3 for herself.
So,
but how?
I took that more as she wanted like the Book of Shadows more so than like their individual. Not to say she didn't want their individual powers, but I kind of felt like she was saying like she wanted their magic. And I kind of, when she said that she wanted her to take Prue's place, I don't think she actually wanted her or thought she could take Prue's place. I took it more as like she was saying that to Aviva just to get her to go along with the plan.
Yeah, I think she was.
But that plan, because my brain, even when I was a kid watching this for the first time on TV, my brain would go, "Oh, murder."
Oh,
like, yeah, because I think Callie planned. Because I think Callie planned on killing all of them.
Oh yeah.
Oh, for sure, 100%.
Yeah, so they were just something to get Aviva to go along, and it didn't take much.
Yeah,
it didn't have to make sense.
It definitely, like, they weren't clear on what it meant that she wanted their I mean, I feel like because in the beginning, and really throughout the show, the book typically is what people are after. Although warlocks tend to be after their powers specifically, but they do tell us that warlocks actually want their powers. So there was a lot of evil that was after the book because the book was connected to them and contained the magic. And even if you want to go a little bit further, because I mean, Callie knew everything about them, how often they go to the bathroom, social security numbers. She did though. She knew everything. So I'm assuming that she would have known that the Nexus was under the house. And
oh, that's a good point.
Yeah. So in my mind, I'm thinking that she thought maybe if I get the book, I get the Nexus, then I can take their powers from there.
Oh, and do you know what I just thought about? And it makes so much more sense with what you're saying is in the episode where Prue kind of marries a demon, kind of, sort of, like the book changes because their powers get infected. So who's to say if Callie was successful by whatever means necessary, that wouldn't have happened too, where the book, I mean, obviously all the vanquishing spells for all the upper level demons, I'm assuming, would still be in there, but then you would also get it to where dark magic could easily touch it, and then you would have all those dark magic spells in there too. Oh, girl was on this. Damn, okay.
Yep.
Why was Callie just for one episode? Fuck.
Baby, because Callie and then the soul fairy person lady, whatever, from Power of 2, the one that was like those two, they should have low-key been working together.
Oh, and Callie, she would have made like a good like season villain, like her working through the mirrors, talking, sending demons, being in Evil's ear.
Especially like for season 1, she would have been really good. And then if we find out later on that maybe the source is the one that banished her and she's trying to get enough power to, go up against him to free herself, but also to, baby, they could have
imagine
It's her and the Vampire Queen. I'm telling you, those are the only two people that would piss him off.
And if she would have like worked with Rex and his dog, then that would have
Rex and who?
decided in
his dog Hannah.
His cat lady?
Yeah, that's her name.
Y'all not listen. Let me tell you something. I know Rex and Hannah in this episode, but I really want to say something. Rex and Hannah
tickles me.
Rex and Hannah are like the putties from Power Rangers. You know the
no
that you just kind of like get out of the way.
They're Goldar. They are they're Baboon and Squat. Come on, they are Baboon and Squat. They aren't the putties.
They're giving me like maybe Goldar and Rito. But
okay, yeah, I'll give you that. Yes,
but I still call them. I don't know. I just feel like the source didn't take the Charmed one seriously at first, so he was like, "I'm gonna just throw them at him," and he was like, "Okay, well that didn't work." And so by the end of the season, then he pulls out Tempest because he's like, "Okay, now I'm gonna pull out the big guns. The big guns didn't work. We need to come back and we need to get some bigger guns." And then that's where season 3 comes in, because season 2 he's chilling. Season 2 he's just like trying to formulate a plan, and then season 3 we're to win it. But y'all not gonna come for Rex and Hannah, because first and foremost, let me tell you, I don't know whether this is good or bad, but you know when we find out that Hannah, that black lady's identity, Hannah was an equal opportunity thief, and for that, I have to say that I stand. I still laugh at the fact unalive the black lady, but.
Oh no, I still laughed at the fact the only time she darkened her melanin was when she turned into a panther. She tried. You
know what? Maybe that was homage. Maybe she was like, listen.
Good night.
I feel like I'm gonna cut all of this out. I just know that
But Hannah did not care. She was a shapeshifter. She could have turned into real Hannah at any point. Just please
do not say the word shapeshifter on the Nexus podcast.
Form changer, anamorpher, whatever the hell.
It triggers me to think about this person. That's the word I'm going to use. Person, this demon, transforming his finger into a key to get.
I just want to know what else he can turn it into. That's what I'm saying. All right.
At least Callie could move through mirrors. So Callie was everywhere. Callie was a little bit of here, a little bit there. Callie was where but we got demons.
I wonder if the shapeshifter stole Phoebe's bike to get around.
They probably did. Like, I just know that when they went to go see Victor, they were like, okay, it's time to go see Victor so we can get our plan. Go get the phone book and call a cab. We've got some evil to do. Like, I'm telling you.
Oh, whoa, time out. Just because Prue had a license and a car does not make her any better than calling a cab service.
It does, actually, because Piper had
I'm just saying they were on an even playing field. That's all I'm saying. Before Paige
had to steal Prue's purse just to pay the cab that brought Phoebe there. So where am I going with that necessarily? I'm not 100% sure. But what I will say is, Prue had to pay for gas. Phoebe paid for fare. So that was a very classist statement.
She stole for it.
That was a very classist statement to make, but anything that's associated with the shapeshifters it takes me there. Like, I turn into a lot of things when I think of the shapeshifters, except for the
turned into Callie.
I turned into Callie. I went from like, how are the shapeshifters to take the phone book out of the nightstand.
I'm like, Aviva, you can't even tell her voice what time it is. Are you?
Aviva wanted to be loved. Aviva just wanted to be loved.
She did. Her mom was really down bad, so
it was
Aviva wanting to be loved.
Aviva would have had to get a social worker living at my house. I would have had to call somebody in to come work with her.
I'm very shocked she didn't have a caseworker, but
it's a little bit dark in here for me.
It was definitely given somebody needs to talk to this girl. But speaking,
especially considering her aunt went into witness protection Right. immediately after the attempt of her life.
As soon as she had you're lucky that she didn't sacrifice the cat. She said, "I'm not doing this anymore." And
God,
Prue said, "Forget my date. I gotta go by her house and figure this out because I have a problem now."
Yeah.
I have a serious question though, and I know we're keeping this conversational, and I love that, I really do. But when Callie opened that closet door to let Aviva know, hey, we need to go, it's time to take Kit back to the sisters. Why was there no reaction from Kit to that mirror? That cat came out and was just happy as can be, curling up in Aviva's lap, and had zero reaction to whatever was going on in that mirror.
Well, because she had been in the closet for 3 weeks. And it's like,
yeah, but when Cole Turner walks in human form, walks up to ring the doorbell at the Hallowell Manor, the dude wait, that was a hornet's nest, wasn't it? Never mind.
I mean, at that point, I think Kit was trying to stay alive.
Yeah, Kit was just happy to be like, okay, yeah, that's a demon. They'll figure it out. They'll figure it out when she gets there.
And
but
if I do something else,
shocked
Callie might kill me.
Did she seem shocked that the cat was in there? Like she didn't know the cat was in there?
She was like, oh, that's what she was hiding.
Because her face was almost like she had no idea the cat was in her closet.
There was no litter box in there. I felt so bad for Kit. That closet was so tiny. There were no actual bowls in there, and there was no litter box.
And nobody saw that flyer just catch on fire on the pole randomly.
Right, thank you. Nobody caught that. Lily should have at least turned back around or something at some point, you would think.
Yep.
He just walked away like 2 seconds ago. He was still in the vicinity.
That should be under the umbrella of White Lighter sensing, is I sense magic just in my general vicinity, you know?
Well, that would entail being a competent White Lighter. And Lily does not have that distinction. So
that's a really good point.
Oh, I do want to.
White Lighters, do they sense magic? They should be able to sense magic, right? They should be able to.
You would think.
They're supposed to sense everything. Like when they're orbiting, especially, they're supposed to sense, is this room empty? Are there witnesses? Is this sign on fire? Like he's supposed to know these things.
Yeah, because remember that episode?
Because he knows Campbell's going to go on a serial killer binge.
I thought about it. That episode with Bruce Campbell, when they were going to orbit the room and they were like, make sure the room is empty. They were supposed to be able to sense that kind of stuff.
Yeah. It's kind of like, this is not in the same vein, but something y'all said made me think of it. After the police took Annalise to the hospital, why was Kelly like, what did you tell the police? What was she supposed to tell them? That my demon friend in the mirror told me? Like, what do you want me to do? Like what? But I know Aviva thought that she was the one who did it to Annalise, but I was still like, why would you ask her what she told them? But also, let's talk about the fact that the police left this teenage girl at home alone and were like, all right, okay. Know how she's doing.
Why was Dyfus not called?
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because I've got 2 questions about that. Well, I do want to say 2 things. One was, I want to stress that this is the first time, like when she set the sign on fire, it was a clear indication she was not a fire starter, because she didn't sit there and rub her damn temples like she had a fucking migraine. So I don't know why I gave her any points to the show for that, because I'm just like, okay, we're setting up a standard, but also, do you want me to go ahead and comment on the age difference now, or do you want to hold off until?
Please go ahead and comment on
the homophobic comment. Okay, yeah. So my concern in this show is the sisters are 3 adult women, and I'll be honest, because I obviously have been rewatching this show for decades. Like, I mean, I watched the show when I was a kid. I'm now in my mid to late 30s, so I kind of forget what age they are. I looked it up, and at this time, allegedly, Phoebe is 22 years old. Aviva was not listed, so I'm having to assume she's driving a car. She's between 16 and 18. Even if she's of the consensual age of 18, and 18 and 22 are technically not that far in age, we are talking about 2 drastically different qualities and experiences of life here. So, and the way Leo was reacting, like Piper was being straight up homophobic when she was cracking that joke about like, maybe Phoebe has to go to her gay lesbian group. And then for whatever reason, the writers thought that was hilarious, and so they're just running with it with Leo, having those awkward conversations with her the whole time through. My question at that point, if I'm honestly assuming that Phoebe is having a relationship with this young girl, Phoebe, why are you, an adult woman, dating a 16-ish to 18-ish year old girl? It raised too many eyebrows for me personally.
That's a good point.
And I understand people are like, oh, well, it's not that far between 16 or whatever, 18 and 22. No. Those are vastly different.
It's nasty. It's very SVU.
Yes. Like, it was all played for laughs. It just, none of it, all of it just made me feel uncomfortable, even if it was a joke. It was just like, because Phoebe's obviously heterosexual.
Yeah.
But even if she wasn't dating younger people, are we okay with saying she's picking up 17-year-old boys at football practice?
Well, we know why Leo doesn't care.
Well, his first wife was probably 15 when he married her.
In his second one, he watched her Pampers being changed. But from a storytelling perspective, I don't quite understand that myself. Because like you said, it was played up for laughs like, oh, hardy har. But now this is me reaching a little bit. And so y'all just please stay with me. I feel like it's kind of in the same vein as when people make like prison jokes about gay men.
Yes.
And they don't really take it seriously because it's two women. And so it's like, yeah, it's a 16, 17-year-old girl. And it's okay because it's two women. No one's going to no one's going to be offended by that. And it's like the drop the soap joke. And it's like, no, you're literally, joking about someone being SA'd. And that's just me. I think it's that 90s. This is funny because it's at the expense of another person because they're quote unquote different. I don't know. Yeah, but y'all get what I'm going for.
Yeah.
100%. 100%.
It is kind of gross when you think about it, though. I never even thought about the age difference, and I'm like, it's kind of creepy. If she's supposed to be 22,
get her from school. Like she breaks out, but she skips school to go with Phoebe, and it's like
Phoebe meets her at high school.
Yeah,
it is the equivalent of a grown-ass adult meeting you in the student parking lot saying, oh, this is a brief conversation we're having, and the student going, lols, no way, man, we're gonna skip math class and go whatever. I forgot what she was doing. Did they go back to the house or something? But
like, what time do you get out of school? And she's like, now. And I'm like,
she wouldn't have gave her a tour of her house when your sisters literally said, don't bring her back up in here.
Seriously.
And that
she pisses me off sometimes.
Well, that goes back to what I was going to say earlier when I brought up Aviva wanting to be loved. Phoebe had zero reason to be defending this girl the way she was. And at first, because I've always kind of explained this episode because you know how it is when you don't watch an episode for a while, so you remember like the overall part of it. And I always remember Phoebe, you feeling like she related to Aviva, and that's why she kind of, gravitated towards her. But then going back and watching it, I'm like, from the moment Aviva stepped in, they acted like Prue was being unreasonable with her. And not only did they act like Prue was being unreasonable, Aviva was being horribly nasty to Prue within the first few minutes of meeting her.
In her own home.
In her own house that she just walked into after bringing their cat back. And then at one point, Phoebe's even like, but she brought the cat back. We have to remember that. And I'm like, Phoebe, is that you went to New York and you lived there for 6 months. You really have no sense of danger outside of, and Phoebe is always the one who has the most street smarts. So you would think that her brain would have been telling her this is not right, especially because they've been witches for some months now. Like they have been witches for a couple of months, and there is no reason. I mean, she was just or at least a couple of weeks. And she is just going in on Prue. Like Prue is just this horrible person. And then when she says, you didn't tell your B of a sister, did you? And she's like, watch your mouth, young lady.
I was so surprised by that.
Yeah.
I was so surprised
to a bigger theme, actually, with her. Because think about it. Cole, think about it with what's her name at the end when Piper was like, we kind of have to stop Billy and Christy, but yet you're kind of defending them. I've noticed a bigger theme now with her picking
or the way she blindly
something that is
trusted Kira.
detrimental towards her family.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's another reason why, like, not whenever, but as a general rule, when demons want to come in, they go through her. Victor came. This is just like the first 7 episodes. We're not even episode 10 yet. And Victor has tried to get to them through her.
Yep.
Callie has now tried to get to them through her. It's like everyone recognizes, and I hate using this word for her, but it's like they realize she's the weak spot. Like, she's the one that's
she's naive.
And I don't want, naive. That's why I say I don't.
Which I don't like for her. That never seems to click. Like, I'll give you naivety in terms of Cole, like romantic relationships, daddy issues, father figures, having a stable relationship. Yes, I'll give that to you. But like this particular episode, and I'm about to defend Phoebe, so I apologize. Okay, that's my personal thing. I know y'all have a thing with Leo, and I fully support it. I used to love Phoebe. Growing up watching this show, Phoebe was my girl 110%, all the way. Like, I kind of wavered a little bit when we started getting empathy. I forgot what year that was. But, like...
6.
No, that makes sense, because I think I was graduated high school by then. But, like, I definitely identified with Phoebe for the longest time, and then eventually realized I'm more of a Paige as, when I got older. But, like, in this particular situation... I kind of like that they had that scene where she was in the sunroom or the family room or whatever, and she was getting all those fact-finding questions in with Aviva about like, oh, who's Callie, a high priestess? Wow, what's that? This is interesting. Like, if Phoebe had more information about Callie ahead of time, I really feel she would have been able to identify Callie as something similar to an abusive parent or an abusive boyfriend or whatever relationship for this young girl. But because that was kind of buried in the weeds as a plot device, it just felt so weird that they were able to have such a quick connection, and then Phoebe was defending her against her own sister. And again, this is what, episode 7?
Yeah.
So we have fought 7, not demons, but 7 magical enemies at this point. This is a new magical being in our house. I would start raising eyebrows.
Yeah, especially because they caught her in a lie about the cat.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, off bat, you're being deceitful.
So this makes me wonder something. This makes me think. You know how earlier I said that it was weird that Phoebe's intuition wasn't going off, but Prue's was?
Well, that's Prue's power.
Intuition was going off, but it was to protect Aviva because she, like, subconsciously, she was like, this girl is in trouble.
Yes.
And it's offsetting her common sense to be like, this is wrong.
There's a better way to protect her than the way you carry it on.
Yeah, no, definitely.
But she just felt that there was something there.
Yeah, like she knew something was off, and because Phoebe,
it could have reminded her of herself maybe when she was that age.
Yeah, because the only reason that kind of even is shaky is because it was immediate. As soon as she met Aviva, had no information on her. She didn't know who this girl was from a sack of potatoes, and she just instantly. This girl has come into y'all's house. She knows all your sisters' names, information, where y'all live, what kind of toilet paper you like to buy. And not once did Phoebe be like, that's weird. How'd you know that? Instead, she's just like, Prue, you didn't have to be so mean to her.
Especially at the school parking lot.
Yeah.
Like, when she sat there, she name dropped both Prue and, because I think that's when she called Prue a bitch. And then she name dropped Piper shortly after. And I hesitated because I'm just like, I know that Prue and Piper both tried to pay you roughly $50 as a thank you for finding Kit, but I don't remember anybody wearing a name badge.
Yeah, I definitely question that. Especially Piper, because Piper was so like subdued in that scene, like she was basically a minor player.
Yeah,
like,
she called her sister a bitch. And she didn't do nothing. She called her sister a bitch, and she was just like,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that's what I mean when I say, like, I almost wonder if that was supposed to be the implication, although I don't agree with it. I do wonder if that was supposed to be like the underlying thing is not just that she related to her, but that she could sense that she needed help. And maybe at this point the power wasn't like super refined, so it's not like she knew she was sensing something. It was just like, let me kind of is gravitating me towards her, because it's not like she had a white lighter that could have, helped her.
Yeah,
Could
because
have
she
told her
had
anything.
Leo.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
she had nobody. Mm-hmm.
Because they really could have very easily said that he put them in each other's path without. I don't. Let's shut up, Kim. Just shut up. Let me be quiet.
No, that would have been too easy because even if we had a scene of Leo physically putting those flyers up himself, and then because magic, we just see the camera pull back, and then he's kind of hiding in an alleyway. We didn't see him teleport; he's just there. And Aviva's looking at it, and then he like teleports Kit into her path. Like there were so many other options they could have gone with.
Yeah.
To sprinkle this in to let us know what's going on with Leo and to at least make him appear to be effective at his job, because at that point it's not like he's setting them up with Callie. It's possible that he would be setting Aviva in their path so they can save Aviva.
Yeah.
And I mean, number two, was Aviva just like going around town just like destroying all of them, or did she just burn that one and was like, job well done, Aviva? And then she just went on with it.
Okay. That brings up a note that I had about this. Like, she is gleefully committing arson, and then she wants to like get a conscience, like, oh, this is not what I signed up for. Okay, like you, like is like which is it?
Listen,
Like, are you this good person or are you this arson trying to burn down the city?
quiet as it is kept,
Oh,
you would
okay.
think that Prue and Aviva would have gotten along, because Aviva was setting people on fire. She was willing to take Prue out as soon as she met her. I mean, like, she could have burned Andy's hand. Like, you would think that Prue would have been like, she's a girl after my own heart or something.
I put a note
Okay.
that there was a couple times Prue had to stop herself from killing that girl. I saw it on her face. I said,
Yeah.
she wants to unalive this teenage girl so bad.
Yes. So this brings up another note that I had, is that Piper and Phoebe actually saved Aviva's life, because if Aviva had tried to kill Prue, like killer Prue, that was just gonna end bad for her.
It was, because she would have taken her out of here immediately.
Oh, most definitely.
At least when it came back, and her niece would have been gone from the earthly plane.
Turned
like,
to ash.
She would have been like, she's with the angels now. Like, I'm telling you, I was really sitting there like, Aviva, and this is no shade, she is putting that power to work. Like, Aviva got that power and was immediately doing whatever she wanted to do with it. And then when Callie was like, you have to make Phoebe covet your power. And then the next scene, Phoebe's like, that sure is a nifty power she's got. I was like, no, writers, come on. Y'all could have done a little bit better than that. It was a little bad.
But what did she see, honestly? Because I think at that point, all Phoebe saw was the movie and the popcorn. Like not even catch on fire, just the popcorn explode, the movie kind of smoke a little bit, and then I had this in my notes for if we got to talking about the scene. Why does Phoebe have like 6 potted plants in her room?
Because it was
like I think realistically she probably picked them up off the porch, but the way the show's edited, they were just in Phoebe's room the whole time. Why does Phoebe have 6 potted plants in her damn room?
I think, and this is just me, at that point they were knowing they were gonna have to switch between that being Piper and Phoebe's room, and they were like, we're not redecorating the set twice. So they just put some plants up, and then they were like, okay, that way we can take a few plants away, we can put the plants back, and then we can make
that is true. That is true.
Because later
Right.
on is when, I mean, they were all sleeping in the same bed, but later on is when like there was different furniture, different bed sheets, things like that. But like in the beginning, it was like we know Phoebe has a room. Did we ever see Piper's room in the beginning?
I don't think in the beginning.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Looks like I can remember.
No, I don't think so.
I'm
It
Because
wasn't
I
until
even
she married that loser, right?
Yeah, when
Yo.
she
Or
married,
that season.
she, quote unquote married
No,
her.
we saw it in season.
Oh, you mean when they
saw
get
it
the
in
new
season
house?
2.
I know
it
we
in
saw
season
it in
2.
season 2 because she was crying over Dr. Williams.
Right.
Mhm.
And Phoebe was like, "Who?"
Because Piper's
His
just like,
first name was Curtis.
Oh,
Ernest. And then like, who?
Then
And she's like, his
who?
first name was Ernest.
And Phoebe was
Oh,
like,
then I was like,
"Who?"
oh, okay.
The
Okay.
person that your sister just killed.
The okay.
Prue was so glad to take that man out of here.
Mhm.
Get the devil.
Mm-hmm. All right, everybody. So that's it for part 1. Catch us again in 2 weeks for part 2. And if you'd like to stay updated on things that we have going on, please follow us on Twitter/X at Nexus Pod, Instagram at @the_Nexus Pod, and on TikTok at Nexus.podcast. Hopefully we'll see you there and can't wait to see you again in 2 weeks. Bye.